Step number 7. I recall so clearly a number of years ago, I cornered a leader in our industry. I said, I want to know what's the one skill that I have to stick the key in the lock to success. His name was Nathan. Nathan said, Randy, there are 4 skills. I said, yeah, but Nathan, what's the one skill that's really required to succeed? He said, there are 4. I'm a little bit slow to learn. I said, Nathan, what's the one that's most important? He said, Randy, there are 4. But if there had to be just one, if there was one that was a preeminent skill, it would be the skill of learning how to invite. And I embraced that principle, and I set upon a track that took to consideration his next thought. He said, in fact, Randy, if you master the art of inviting, that will do more to assure your long-term success than anything else. He said, develop a simple rudimentary inviting skill and you'll succeed. Create a process that causes large numbers of people in your organization to similarly have that rudimentary skill. Your success will become substantial. Master the art of inviting, he said. Your skill will become great. Create a process where large numbers of people in your organization similarly master the art of inviting, and that, he said, will prove to be a greater key to your long-term success. That will do more to assure that you will one day separate yourself from the generation of income than anything else. And so, boy, I just put a great big exclamation point, did I not, on step number 7? It is learn how to invite. Here I'll describe for you the simple reality that exists in our industry. The vast majority of people who generate substantial income make a mistake. They quit recruiting and rely upon people in their group. Remember I told you that I became a black diamond in Monavie in a short period of time. I'd already been in the industry for almost 2 decades at that point, and I enrolled 240 people. See, recruit, recruit, recruit. That is the only sure way to success. The prelim to that recruiting process is what? One must have a candidate list that grows in front of you. One cannot continually recruit unless we have a large and expanding candidate list from which to draw these new candidates, these new prospects who look at our business. Now we have this candidate. Here's the rub. Let's say that your name, Nate, is the gentleman here that's helping me with this recording today, and let's assume that Nate today becomes a distributor, that he becomes a participant in our process. And here's the way that it's going to go. Nate, well-intended like all other distributors, will call his prospect and say, I'm excited, I'm fired up, I have got involved in this company called Monavie. It's a great business and I'd like you to do it with me. Words something like that. That's what Nate would say. And I can hear the prospect. Sounds cool, Nate. I like business. How's it working for you? How much money are you making, Nate? Nate's been involved for a day. He's making 0. Here is the great challenge that faces our industry. Most prospecting calls are made by people who are not yet succeeding. They're calling in advance of success. So the real challenge is this. By and large, it's a bunch of people who are not making money proposing to teach other people how to make money. That's what's hard. Here's the key. The great news for Nate now representing all brand new participants. The great news for you reviewing this information is that you are not the opportunity, and I am not the opportunity. Your sponsor is not the opportunity. Your upline is not. Monavie is. Monavie is the opportunity. When you've learned how to invite, that's when you can have confidence that your candidate will see Monavie as opposed to seeing you. And I'm sure you're a lovely person. You're not the opportunity. How much are you making? Nothing. How much do you know about it? Not much. You just got involved. Can you teach me how? I don't know how myself. Well, you see, there is the problem. When you have learned how to invite, that is when you can have confidence that the individual on your candidate list will be given a legitimate chance to see Monavie as opposed to seeing you. It's not about the one introducing the opportunity. It is about the opportunity itself in all of its magnitude. Learn how to invite. I can't overstate it. How then shall one learn how to invite? The good news is this is easy. This is easy. There is a CD called The Invitation. That invitation is included in the MVP Starter Kit. And I encourage you to listen to it day after day after day after day after day. Listen to it until you know intuitively and automatically the next words, when you can cite the next paragraph, when you know what's coming next. And you know what will occur? One day when you least expect it, you will bump into an individual and you will suddenly be scripted. I just said scripted. I remember when I was first taught to be scripted. This doesn't feel comfortable to me. It didn't feel natural. I was taught to be scripted, not in this industry, but at Merrill Lynch. I was taught to be scripted. And I thought, this feels so artificial. It feels so fake. Who uses scripts? Actors and actresses. It didn't feel real. Didn't feel sincere. I have learned over the years that being scripted simply means that we are prepared. It means that we know what we will say and we know what we will not say. It simply means that we are being prepared. And by the way, it means that you're becoming a professional in this field of endeavor. What's a professional? What's the difference in a professional golfer and an amateur golfer? A lot of them, I suppose, but one key difference is professionals get paid and amateurs don't. I want to assure you there are lots and lots and lots of amateurs in this industry of ours. There are lots of amateurs in our company. There are a handful of professionals. What's the difference? The professionals have developed 4 simple skills. Remember, I asked Nathan, what's the one? He said, Randy, there are 4. The first one is to grow and maintain a candidate list. Have a candidate list that stays in front of us. Why? Because then, once we've mastered the art of inviting, we will have a never-ending pool of people that we can introduce to our business. Recruit, recruit, recruit. That's the only sure way to success. The first skill required to so do is to learn how to grow, create, and maintain a candidate list that grows in front of us in terms of quantity and quality. And second is to begin by developing a simple rudimentary skill of inviting, with the idea of growing into a well-developed and refined inviting skill, ultimately giving way to mastery of the art of the invitation. Man, when that happens, you've gone far to put the key in the lock of success. Listen to the invitation again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And then I would refer to Cicero, who so correctly said, the skill to do comes from the doing. I give you a strong encouragement to listen to the invitation, listen to it over and over and over. Then get a handheld recording device and imagine the first 5 names on your candidate list. Imagine that relationship. Select a script. Select one of the downloadable PDF scripts from the MVP site, compare it to the invitation CD, compare that to your candidate list, and then speak into the recorder device exactly what you would say to introduce someone to our business. The skill to do comes from the doing. That which is measured can be improved. Let it be that before 48 hours have passed, that you have created a properly constructed script for that first handful of candidates, that you have selected a preliminary information device. We'll talk about that a little bit further. What exactly we will invite the person to do? We'll invite the person to listen to a tool, to let the tool talk, to guide their entry to a one-on-one presentation, to a two-on-one presentation, to a home business review, to grant them the opportunity to see what Monavie is. The first step is to enroll in Monavie. The first foundation piece of the creation of a large and successful business is to have a process which results in a rapid flow of distributor applications. The second step, to place an appropriate initial order, which considers your goal, your financial circumstance, your willingness to work, and which also considers proper business building strategy, includes products for your own consumption, for business building purposes, and for customers who don't opt into our business at that moment. The third step and the third foundation piece in the creation of a large successful business is to establish an auto-ship foundation. First, to establish your own auto-ship and understand the importance of it. Then to create a process, to involve yourself in a process long since created, would be more correct, that results in the establishment of an auto-ship foundation throughout your business that simply cannot be shaken or broken. The fourth step is to acquire the tools necessary to successfully engage in this process. People do the work, not tools, but people do far, far, far better work with tools properly constructed for the task at hand. Number 5 is to build belief. Step number 5 is to build belief in what? In our industry, in our company, in our products, in you as an individual, in the process, and your ability to engage successfully in it. Step number 6 is to create a preliminary candidate list. The skill that goes along with that step is to learn how to so live your life such that your candidate list grows in front of you in terms of quantity and quality. Step number 7 is to begin with the establishment, with the creation, the development of a simple, rudimentary inviting skill with a longer-term goal of creating a well-developed inviting skill, giving way ultimately to the mastery of the art of inviting, and that will then lead us to step number 8.